Public transport. I call the honourable member Ian McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will eventually take up the roads of national significance. But first of all, I want to congratulate the Minister for Primary Production, his Associate Minister. In fact, I want to congratulate also the Select Committee that drives this sector, because we've listened tonight to the Department of Social Development and how it's going to cost New Zealand, or the investment that department needs to make in this country. Well, I can assure you it's going to be driven by the Department for Primary Production. Mr. Chair, I want to touch briefly on the roads of national significance. I also want to touch on the railways, because both of those are critical to the success of the primary production sector in New Zealand. In fact, the roads of national significance are how we get our exports to the port. The fact that there are very few roads of national significance in Mr Ardern's electorate has got nothing to do with it. Because in fact, once he gets them onto those roads of national significance, they get to the port much more efficiently. I also want to talk briefly about the railways and the significance of the railways to New Zealand. And for anyone who observes the railways running through Palmerston North, you will see that on a daily basis there are a significant number of milk trains, fertiliser trains, and indeed other trains carrying product, logs and whatever else from the agricultural sector of New Zealand to the ports. So the railways too are critical to our future. I want to talk also about the investment that government has made in science and technology. I want to go back in history a little bit in doing so, because for a while the agricultural sector has struggled to keep its share of investment in the development of science and technology, and in fact in the development of its future. It's become extremely critical to agriculture that we continue to invest heavily in science. I want to speak briefly about the Ritter Institute, a part of Massey University, of course based in my electorate. This institute's led by Professors Paul Mohan and Harjinder Singh. They come up with all sorts of new strategies and new innovative ideas for boosting the production and use of our agricultural product. I think it's very exciting. It's a very exciting institute, and it is the future of New Zealand's export industries, and I think this type of development is certainly the future of this type of new product and new development that is going to take place in the food and agricultural production sectors. A lot of attention has been paid over recent weeks to the declining rural population in New Zealand. This government takes this issue very seriously, and the demise of services suffered in the first 10 years of the 2000s and before that around education, health and other factors, and indeed investment in our roading infrastructure in those years, has caused issues in rural New Zealand, which has certainly incited the lowering of population in some of the towns and villages in rural New Zealand. It's a problem that we need to reverse the trend of, and this government will reverse that trend by continuing strong investment in education, the health sectors, maintaining a strong hand in our economy in times of significant difficulty around the world. So I'm very impressed, Mr. Chair, with the investment this government is putting into the primary production sector. I'm very impressed with the leadership the primary production sector has from this government, and I think we are in very good hands. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The question is that vote primary industries stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will please say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, the question now is that vote foreign affairs